Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and I'm going to be doing a Geargia deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck is an extremely fun deck to play that I've included all sorts of spicy tech cards in this build for you guys. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Geargia Augur. This card is basically the Stratos of the deck, that when this card is normal summon, you can add 1 level 4 Earth Machine monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card, but you cannot declare an attack nor special summon monsters except machine monsters for the rest of the turn, which is a really good effect to get you a level 4 machine monster to help you combo into some really crazy cards. We then play 3 copies of Geargia Accelerator. This card is insanely powerful in the deck that if you control a Geargia monster, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. And the best thing about this card is it's not a once per turn. So you can keep special summoning out this card to your side of the field over and over again, which is really cool. And when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target 1 Geargia monster in your graveyard except another copy of this card and add that target to your hand, which is a really good effect. We then play 3 copies of Geargia Arsenal. Geargia Arsenal is a really good 3-of in the deck that this card gains 200 attack for each Geargia monster that you control. And you can trigger this card to be able to special summon a Geargia monster from your deck in defense position except another copy of this card, which is a great effect to get the exact monster you want on your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Geargia Armor. Geargia Armor is a definite 3-of in the deck, and once per turn you can change this card into face down defense position, and when this card is flip face up, then you can add a Geargia monster from your deck to your hand, which is a really good effect to be able to use with this card, to be able to get the exact card that you need as an additional searcher in this deck. We then play a single copy of Geargino. Geargino is a good 1-of in the deck, but you only really need a single copy of Geargino that you can tribute this card and then target a level 4 machine type monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but its effects are negated. But it's still a really awesome card in the deck to be able to work with your copy of Geargia Gear, and it's a super powerful card in this deck. We then play 2 copies of Geargino Mark II. Geargino Mark II is really insane because when this card is normal or flip face up, you can special summon a Geargia monster from your hand or grave in defense position, which is a great effect to be able to use in this deck, and it's super helpful to use this card as a 2-of. We then play a single copy of Geargino Mark III. I feel like 1 copy of this card is totally fine because when this card is special summoned by the effect of a Geargia card, you can special summon a Geargia monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position except another copy of this card, but its effects are negated, which is a really good effect to be able to use with your copy of your Geargia cards. So if this card does get special summoned, you get an additional monster on your side of the field. It's super helpful, but 1 copy is totally fine. We then play 2 copies of Gold Gadget. Gold Gadget is really good as a 2-of in the deck, because when this card is normal or special summon, you can special summon up to 1 level 4 machine monster from your hand, which is a great effect just to get you an additional level 4 on your side of the field to make some rank 4 plays. We then play 2 copies of Silver Gadget, which shares the exact same effect as Gold Gadget. We're just playing it because it's a different name in the deck, and it's really good as a 2-of in this build just to help you get additional level 4s on your side of the field. We're then playing 2 copies of the Therion King Regulus. This card is insane as a 2-of in the deck. We have so many ways of searching this card in this deck by summoning out our copy of our Gigantic Sargus, which is super good to be able to summon in this deck. And this card is really good because it's a walking negate in this build, and it's very easy to put on your side of the field. Just targeting a machine monster in the graveyard, special summoning this card, and then equipping that monster to this card is super easy to do, and it's just a really good card in this build. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're just going to be playing a single spell, and that's going to be 1 copy of Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing is really good in the deck, because all you have to do with this card is make a copy of Utopia Double, then you summon out a copy by detaching the copy of a material off your copy of Utopia Double. You'll actually get to search out Double or Nothing and summon a copy of Utopia on top of your copy of Utopia Double. The Utopia comes out at 5,000 attack points. You can then attack your opponent's monster, detach a material and negate the attack for the Utopia, then drop Double or Nothing and go back in for 10,000 attack points. And if your opponent has a monster in attack position that's 2,000 or less, you're going to usually OTK the opponent. So this card super helps out if you see a way to take advantage of it, which is just really cool. So that's it for these spells, guys. let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start off with 3 copies of Trap Trick. Trap Trick is insane because this card helps us get to our copies of our Geargia gear extremely quickly, and this card is just super helpful in this deck to be able to use to get to the exact trap card that we need when we need it. We then play 2 copies of Lost Wind. Lost Wind is insanely powerful because you actually get 2 uses out of this card. As you target a face-up special summon monster on the field, and it has its effects negated. Also, its original attack is halved. And if a monster is special summoned from your opponent's extra deck while this card's in the graveyard, then you can set this card back to your side of the field, but banish it when it leaves the field. But that's a super good effect to be able to use with this card, that you get multiple uses out of this card to be able to negate multiple monster effects and half their attack points. We then play 3 copies of Geargia gear. Geargia gear is really good as a 3-of, and this card is basically the entire deck, because it lets you special summon out 2 Geargino monsters from your deck and increase their levels by 1, getting you 2 level 4 monsters on your side of the field so you can start making some awesome rank 4 plays. And it's really good because you basically play 6 copies of this card with the copy of Trap Tricks in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Compulse. Compulse is just really good right now at bouncing your opponent's monsters back to the hand. It's really good depending on where you actually bounce your opponent's cards back, especially if they go into a boss monster and you bounce it back, because they're going to put multiple cards into that boss monster, and using this card just to deal with that card is just really nice. This card is great as a 3-of in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Storming Mirror Force. Your opponent is never going to see this card coming. It's really good as a 3-of in the deck, and when your opponent's monster declares an attack, you return all your opponent's attack position monsters back to the hand, which is an insanely powerful effect to be able to just bounce all those cards back to the hand, especially since it doesn't destroy the monsters, it just bounces them back to the hand, which is just super good. This card is really insane as a 3-of in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Solemn Strike. Solemn Strike is the only non-normal trap that we're playing in the deck. This card is really good at just dealing with your opponent's summons, because when a monster would be special summoned or a monster effect is activated, you can pay 1,500 life points to negate the summon or activation if you destroy that card, which is really good to play in this deck to be able to negate those summons so that we can swarm the field and then OTK the opponent. This card is just really good as a 3-of in the deck. It's just super good to be able to play in this build. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with 3 copies of Geargia X. This card is awesome as a 3-of in the deck, and a card you're always going to be summoning in this build, that once per turn you can detach a material from this card to add a level 4 or lower machine type monster from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect to be able to use with this card to get the exact card that you need when you need it. And it also has a crazy effect that when this card leaves the field, you can target one level 3 or lower Geargia monster in your graveyard and special summon that target, which is a great effect to be able to use in this deck combo with our copies of our Gearginos. We then play a single copy of Heavy Armored Train Iron Wolf. This is how we actually make Zeus extremely easily in this deck, because once per turn you can detach a material in this card, target a machine type monster you control in this turn, it can attack your opponent directly, which makes it really easy to be able to make Zeus with this card. Also, other monsters you control cannot attack, but that's not that big of a deal because you're just using this card to attack directly and make a copy of Zeus. We then play a single copy of Tornado Dragon. Tornado Dragon is really good as a 1-of in the deck to be able to pop spells and traps on the field. It's just a really good card overall. We then play a single copy of Bagooska. Bagooska is great as a 1-of in the deck to be able to shut down the opponent and throw this card in defense position to be able to basically lock down your opponent while you're getting your plays rolling and getting a bunch of trap cards set on the field. We then play a single copy of Number 60. Number 60 is insanely good in the deck to let you draw 2, discard 1, bring a monster back from the graveyard, or even double the attack of a monster, which is really awesome in this particular build, and it's a great 1-of in this deck. We then play a single copy of Number 39, Utopia Double. Utopia Double is insane in the deck because you just make a copy of Utopia Double, detach material from this card, search double or nothing, make Utopia on top of it, and then once you summon out Utopia on top of it, you'll actually come out at 5,000 attack points. You can then attack into your opponent's monsters only, not directly, but then you drop a copy of Double or Nothing after activating this card's effect to negate its own attack, and then attack attack for 10,000 attack points, which is easy to close out games in this deck, and it's super good in this build, especially if your opponent has a monster in attack position that has 2,000 or less attack points. You're usually going to OTK them. With the play a single copy of Spriggan's Merrymaker, you're just playing this card as a 1M in the deck because you're going to immediately upgrade this card into Gigantic Champion Sargus. Gigantic Champion Sargus is great as a 1M in this build because you can also XZ summon this card using one Spriggan's XZ monster you control, which is going to be your copy of Merrymaker. And while this card has a material, you can add a Spriggan's or Therion monster from your deck to your hand, which is always going to be a copy of your Therion King Regulus as you're searching off this card's effect to get you an additional monster that you can make that's a walking negate. We then play a single copy of Geargia XG. XG is really good as a 1-of in this particular deck. You're very rarely going to make this card, but it's still a good option to be able to play in this deck as a 1-of in this build. We then play a single copy of number F0 Utopic Future. This card is very easy to make in the deck because we don't play that many numbers in this particular build, so it's very easy to make this card in this build. We then play a single copy of number F0 Utopic Draco Future. This card is insane in the deck. You're always making F0 to make Utopic Draco Future in this build, and this card is a walking the game, and it's just absolutely crazy to make in the deck with just any two monsters that are XZs. We then play a single copy of Double A Zeus. Double A Zeus is really good as a 1-of in the deck because we play all XZs on this deck. So this card is really good just to board wipe the field, and it's insanely easy to go into with your copy of your heavy armored train. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have not played a Geargia deck, you should definitely give this deck a try, especially since it's extremely budget to pick up. And you can basically put any trap that you want into the deck, which is really awesome. I love that about the deck. And it's even had a structure deck, making it super easy to pick up all the cards. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.